47 people die every hour due to road traffic accidents. And out of these accidents, the most frequently heard ones are related to motorbikes and their riders. This is obviously due to the fact that they are directly exposed to all the traffic in the roads with minimal precautions, usually just the helmet, the normal helmet that they wear to protect themselves from head injuries, but not anymore. Last things changed last December when our very own Ganindu Nanayakkara introduced an intelligent helmet, also known as the eye helmet, which uses a series of arrays to constantly monitor the surroundings of the rider and communicates this information to the user's smartphone via Bluetooth. And he was also listed in the Forbes 30 under 30 list for his invention and became the first runner-up in the Verizon Powerful Answers competition last December. Hello Ganindu.
Hi Cedric.
Ganindu, we have heard so many things about you and your inventions, but just for the sake of the audience, let's sum it up. What exactly is the eye helmet and what was your motivation behind this invention?
Sure. When you think about a traditional helmet, their purpose is to protect the motorcyclist if an accident happens.
Yes.
So the purpose behind the eye helmet is to prevent an accident from happening in the first place, which is called as passive safety. So it has a lot of sensors built in and a lot of safety mechanisms built in to make this happen. Talking about how I got the idea, after watching the movie Iron Man, I wanted to do something fun, and so initially what I built was a smart helmet for the military. And then I was demonstrating this in a lot of exhibitions, and I got a lot of feedback saying, wow, this is great, make a consumer version of it. And that is how I took that core product and converted it into this motorcyclist version, which is what the helmet is today.
Alright, so we know Ganindu Nanayakkara for the very successful innovator that he is. But let's look into the more personal details of you. So Ganindu, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm really passionate about technology, business and finance. My idols are Steve Jobs, Elon Musk and Warren Buffett. So I read a lot about these people. I love watching their biographies, and also every day I read a lot of Business Insider and other kind of news articles, especially regarding business and technology, but regarding other areas as well, which is I do those things for fun. I like doing those things, but also it is a mandatory thing if you want to stay in this field, because things are changing so fast. You always have to learn and update yourself. Also, in order to relax, I'm a huge fan of comics. I like reading cartoons and those kind of stuff, so I also spend a lot of time on Facebook, reading these typical comics and those kind of stuff as well.
Okay, Ganindu. So it's a known fact that actually this creativity in childhood, it actually leads to innovation in adulthood. So it is no secret that our Ganindu himself had a very interesting early childhood. And I have no doubt that it has made you to the person you are today. So Ganindu, let's walk back the memory lane.
Sure. I'm also a big believer in this saying that entrepreneurs are born, not made.
Yes.
And I was also no exception. I mean, since childhood, I always wanted to build things. I always wanted to try new stuff. For an example, when I get a toy, I wasn't really interested in playing with it. I'd rather wanted to, disassemble it and take out these motors and play with those kind of stuff. And then eventually, I learned that you don't have to break toys. You can purchase these parts from outside. So then I started buying these LEDs and motors and building those kind of stuff. Not just electronics. I was really interested in building stuff using clay, and I can remember when other kids were building playhouses, I used to build upstairs playhouses.
Okay.
So I always wanted to try new stuff, and those things really help you to evolve. And I also tried a lot of areas where I'm not really good at. I tried to play the melodica and figured out that I'm really bad at it. I tried to paint and figured out that I'm terrible at it. One of my best friends were really good at playing badminton. He used to win a lot of competitions. So I also wanted to play badminton, and I did for a while and realized that I'm not gonna be good at it. So I tried a lot of things, and most of the things I actually failed. But this innovation and building these things was the one thing I was really excited about and I was passionate about. And so yeah, that's how it all started, step by step. I started small, and every day you do kind of a pet project, build something totally irrelevant. I didn't have a plan or big picture, anything like that. I just did it for the sake of fun, and so that's how things evolved.
Awesome. person that I know who would not love to rush back to school given the chance. School days were definitely the best days of my life. So Ganindu, let's take one more step forward and talk about your school life.
Well, you just met a person who would not rush back to school if given a chance.
Really?
Well,
Okay.
let me explain it a little bit.
Okay.
School days were really fun. Yeah, I agree with it. But the reason I would not rush back to school has nothing to do with the school and has everything to do with the education system.
Okay.
I was forced to learn things I wasn't passionate about. I had to do things I didn't really care about. I've heard people saying, we get to learn things we will never use in real life. And I don't really see a problem with that because you never know a predefined scope saying, okay, these are the things you will be using in your real life. So just learn that, and it would be great if you could do that, but that is not the case. So it is okay to get out of your comfort zone and learn things even if you never use it in your real life. But the problem is the way it is taught. You never see a real world application when you learn these things, just equations and theories and those kind of things. So you never know how these things connect to your real life. You never see the value of these things. So to me it was like torture. I couldn't really digest something without knowing how this is going to connect to my life. Nowadays, of course, when I do certain experiments, I go back to the internet or things like that and learn chemistry equations and physics stuff which I could not even tolerate looking at when I was doing the A-levels. So when you see an application, it is very easy to understand. So yeah, that is a brief explanation about my initial statement. Talking about my school, early childhood and stuff like that, I was a very, very introverted kid. So I was kind of antisocial, wasn't really blending in so much. And I wasn't a very big achiever as well. So nobody really had very high expectations from me, and that gives you kind of freedom. When nobody really looks at you, when you are not in the spotlight, you get to try anything you want, and even if you fail, you are not going to disappoint anybody. People are disappointed in you already. So that gives you some kind of a freedom. So I got to try a lot of things, and most of the times I failed, and nobody really cared. So I was kind of in a free fall. I was playing the game by my own rules, and so yeah. I never looked at it that way back then. But looking back in hindsight, I realized, okay, this is the reason why I did certain things that way. Those kind of experiences really shape up your future career. And looking about the passions and things like that, I was really passionate about technology and things like that. I really wanted to build stuff, but at the same time I was an introvert. So if you really want to pitch a product, you need to go to an audience and pitch it, right? What I learned is when you're really passionate about something, the skills you require naturally grow up. So the first presentation I had to do was in front of a massive audience in the University of Colombo, and I had to pitch my product. And I never felt this thing called stage fear or anything like that. I was a really introverted and shy kid, but the minute I got onto the podium, I nailed it. Even a lecturer cried at that audience. So if you are really passionate about something, and if you really want to make something happen, without you even knowing, the other skills you require actually evolve, and you will master those skills without you even knowing. And that is why I always tell these young kids to follow their hearts and do what they love, because not just that skill, all the other social skills and those things also grow up as a part of following their passion.
Okay guys, so moving on to the next segment, Ganindu, let's talk about your university life.
Sure. After A-levels, I joined the Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology, and there, of course, I got to learn about things I really like to learn, IT and those kind of stuff. Even while I was studying there, other than the curriculum, I was trying my own experiments as well. I was building my own stuff, trying things outside the syllabus as well. I was not the best student in the university academically, but outside I was doing really good. I was building my own stuff, and I was involved in innovation and those kind of things during university times as well.
So Ganindu, any unforgettable experiences?
Well, not really.
So then what happened to the crush that you were talking about?
Okay,
So let's talk about that, right?
I didn't see this coming when you said there will be some interesting questions.
Okay.
Oh, well, there was this one girl who joined our batch in, I think, like the second year, and so from the day one, I kind of liked her. So my friends knew this, and so we spent all our, planning sessions and, time we allocated to plan our projects and all those kind of things. It was a kind of like a ceremony from my friends. So they were having a lot of fun. They were planning things, making up stories, and all those kind of things. And this went on for a very very long time. And one day I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna ask her out, which I did. Suddenly in the morning I did, and immediately she said no. So then I moved on. So that's what happened.
Alright, so that actually explains a lot. Ganindu, I extracted this from your Facebook page. 2016 වසරේ මිතුන නග්න හිමියන්ට විවාහ යෝජනා උදා වේ. Does this have anything to do with this crush?
Okay, no, I didn't see any of these things coming when you said, it's going to be fun. Well, I said I moved on. So yeah, that was actually those palapala things actually said something like that. So I just posted it, and so far I didn't work that way, I must say.
Okay. Okay, wow. Ganindu, thank you for sharing all this wonderful information about yourself. But when talking about Ganindu Nanayakkara, we cannot forget all the achievements that he have accomplished so far. So having the man himself here, Ganindu, let's talk about your accomplishments and how you actually came up with these ideas.
When you say achievements, what most people see is these kind of shiny awards and award after award. That's what they look. That's what they call an achievement, right? For me personally, awards have very little importance. In fact, awards make me uncomfortable. I have a lot of them, but they are locked inside a cupboard. I don't even want to see them all the time. I enjoy the moment when I receive the award, but the minute I received it, it's past, right? It doesn't really matter. What that means is you stood up to something at that moment, you did something right, but what matters is, okay, what's next? So that way, I'm never really satisfied about myself. I always see room for growth. I never ever call myself the best, because I'm not. When you say achievements, I wouldn't classify achievements as awards. But of course, awards do make a really big contribution when it comes to giving you momentum, right? Sometimes when you go to these competitions and when we judge, sometimes we see inventions that don't really have a commercial value, but still we give them awards because we see that they have the drive and they have the potential. So if you give them a little bit of push, then at some point in their life they'll make something worth being built and turn it into a business and become a good innovator or an entrepreneur. So that's the important thing here. So rather than, because I see people after winning an award, they keep bragging about it over and over and over again. And when I see these things, I think, dude, seriously, it's the past, stop. So that's how I look at awards. They are good, when you win one and put a profile picture in all your Facebook crushes, like your profile picture, that's a good thing about it. But that point onwards, it's past. So, talking about one of the most important awards, I think is the very first one we won. It was actually a project called the Pandol Design Composer. For me and 3 other friends at our school did this small project where we could program a pandal's light patterns, and we submitted it to a competition at the University of Moratuwa. And we just did it purely for fun. We had no idea, we didn't even want to, we just did it, and somehow we won the first place. So it's like, wow, we might be up to something, right? So that's how it all started, because until that point, I even looked at myself as a useless fellow. I'm not really good at anything. I'm just doing these pet projects, and then after winning that award, people were congratulating me, and I felt, okay, maybe I have something in me. I might be up to something. And that's how I started, going forward in this career. And one of the other biggest misunderstandings is people think that you need to have this massive amount of knowledge or big body of information before you can actually build something. which is not. You only have to move one step at a time. If you really want to build something, based on what you already know and resources you already have, do something. You eventually you will figure things out. So it's like, one day you wake up and realize, oh my God, I have a lot of awards, I've done a lot of things. None of these things were planned. I didn't have this big picture or the vision of achieving all these things and anything like that. I just did one thing at a time, something I enjoyed, and like I said, one day you wake up and realize that, wow, we have done a lot of things. I'm doing pretty good. So that's how it all turns out to be.
But Ganindu, seems like you have just one of your greatest findings, I would say. So is it true that you have an entire planet named after yourself?
Yeah, in 2010, I'm on the Intel Science and Engineering Fair, first place in the computer science category, and as a recognition for those winners, they name my planet after those winners' names. So, like I said, I couldn't have cared less. It's a planet, let it, just fly up there. I can't even remember its exact name. It has Nanayakkara and another number. But it's good to impress people. I use it to impress people, but I personally couldn't have cared less. But yes, there's a planet up there.
Okay. Alright, so on a more serious tone, hardships are expected in everyone's life. So Ganindu, through your journey so far, having achieved all this, you must have faced some hard times as well. So what or who was your inspiration during your hardships?
Oh my God, I don't know where to start. I failed so many times and I felt so miserably throughout my entire career. So, but when you fail, another way of looking at it is when you hit the rock bottom, when you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain, right? It's on the upside, whatever you do, it's only going to be better than what you are right now. So, whenever you fail, it's a great opportunity to, get out of your comfort zone and try something new, and ultimately that results in achieving even greater heights. If you read any kind of a biography, any entrepreneur, any innovator, they'll tell the same thing. Every time they have failed, that was the moment where they pivoted and came up with those breakthrough great ideas. So yeah, I mean, failure is inevitable. And I think Charlie Munger had a great quote that says, never fall into this state of self-pity, because that doesn't solve anything, right? So if you feel bad about yourself and if you try to punish yourself, that's not going to solve any problems, right? It's all about, what's next? Okay, bad things happen, things are really bad right now. What's next? How am I going to turn this failure into an opportunity and maybe achieve something even greater? So my inspiration has always been Steve Jobs. I'm a huge fan of Steve Jobs, and if you listen to his Stanford speech, I think you should listen to it at least 5 times to fully absorb his message. So I've listened to it like at least 50 times right now. So every time I feel down and feel like I'm losing and things are going really bad, Steve Jobs is my inspiration. Because when you listen to that, you always feel like, alright, people have gone through worse things and have achieved greater success, so you have a chance. So that's how I bounce back.
Okay, so what we are trying to say here, I think, is that life is not a bed of roses for anybody, not even Ganindu Nanayakkara himself. So the point is that we should just keep moving on and hope for a better future, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay, so moving on to the next segment, Ganindu. So this is all about quick fire questions. You don't have much time. You just have to put out whatever comes to your mind first. Okay? So Ganindu, in this segment, these are all about quick fire questions. I'm going to shoot you some questions. You have to answer with the first, maybe the first word or the phrase that comes to your mind. Okay? You can't take a lot of time.
Okay.
Okay? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Iron Man or Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs.
Celebrity crush?
Selena Gomez.
Favorite holiday destination?
Sea Green.
What is your most annoying habit?
I'm a perfectionist, so OCD, I want everything to be just right.
Okay. So what's your favorite TV series and the character?
Silicon Valley, Eric Bachman.
Okay. Favorite movie?
3 Idiots.
Okay, so this is a little bit of a descriptive question, so you can take your time. You have planned a vacation on your girlfriend's birthday.
Okay.
And on the same day, you get a chance to pitch the helmet to Elon Musk.
Wow.
what will you do?
The answer is obvious. I'll pitch the idea to Elon Musk.
Okay.
I mean, what's so confusing about that? You can rearrange the date and then you can go on the date as well later. So get the best of both worlds. Right?
But it's the vacation, it's a vacation, pre-planned vacation on your girlfriend's birthday.
I hope she will be understanding.
Okay. So moving on to the next question. If you could do anything you wanted right now, what would it be?
If I could do anything
Yes,
I wanted, yeah, it's basically what I'm doing right now.
Okay. If money was no object, what would you like to do with it?
I'll buy a beachfront property.
Okay. And moving on to the last one, what does your perfect day look like?
Oh, well, there are no schedules, and the day after is also a holiday, and we have fast internet connection, and maybe also more than rice for lunch.
Alright, so that's it for this segment. So we all have regrets, things that we would like to do differently given the chance that we can go back in time. So Ganindu, given the opportunities that you can go back in time to the age that you were 18, what would you have done differently?
Were there moments where I felt like I made the worst decision in my entire life? Were there mornings where I felt like I don't want to get out after bed, everything is falling apart? Were there situations where other people made fun of me because I was a failure, public failure? The answer is of course. There were so many moments like that. But answering your question, if I get an opportunity to go back in time and do things differently, the answer is no. Because I like to quote Steve Jobs here, it was awful tasting medicine, but I guess the patient needed it. Sometimes when you miserably fail, that's actually life's way of redirecting you back to the right path. At some moments, if I hadn't failed that miserably, I wouldn't have tried some of the crazy experiments I've done, which led to extremely great successes later on. So at that moment, being at that moment, it's very easy to say, oh, I wish if things happened in a different way. But in long term, in hindsight, when you really look back, you'll see, things have turned out perfectly fine. So like Steve Jobs says, the dots never connect looking forwards, they only connect looking backwards. So, and Warren Buffett also says, in business, the rear view mirror is always clearer than the windscreen. So only looking back, you can realize how those quote-unquote failures really led you to the person who you have become. So I don't know, actually, if I hadn't really failed, maybe I'm at an even better place right now, maybe I'm not, I don't know, but I'm happy with what I've achieved so far, and so if those failures never happened, I wouldn't be at this place. So the answer to your question is no, I wouldn't do anything any differently.
Okay, so moving on to the final question for the day, something that has been in my mind for a long period of time. Ganindu, what is next for you?
Right now I'm in the process of negotiating this iHelmet concept with one of the biggest motorcycle accessory manufacturers in the USA. So he will be integrating this technology into his production products, and that's really exciting. That's something I'm really looking forward to, rather than just building a prototype, seeing this technology getting into people's hands and people benefiting from it. It's a great feeling. Also, I'm trying some new things at a really small scale right now. Eventually, if I figure out that some of them really work and has potential in the local market, then I want to scale and do it at a bigger scale. So that is also something I'm looking up to.
Alright, so to conclude today's session, we'll move on to something really interesting. Ganindu, I'm sure you have not expected this. Can you act out a very small piece from one of your, maybe your favorite TV show character?
Are you familiar with Big Bang?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, can you remember that scene where Penny gets hospitalized and Sheldon tries to comfort Penny?
Okay, yes.
Okay, you should also play a role in this day.
Okay.
You become Penny, I become Sheldon, and let's do that.
Alright.
Please take a break from being you for just a minute and try being, I don't know, comforting.
I'm sorry. There. Everything's going to be fine. Sheldon's here.
Thanks, that's much better.
Sheldon, I'm not really feeling well. Can you stop being Sheldon for 1 minute and maybe try being comforting?
I'm sorry. There. Everything's going to be fine. Sheldon's here. How about that?
I feel much better.